This beef between Joey Badass and the West Coast is weird. Actually, weird is an understatement. This thing is really cringe. It's one of the most confusing conflicts I've seen in hip-hop because I'm constantly trying to wrap my head around what this beef means in the grander scheme of things. And after thinking for a few days before making this video, I've come up with nothing to justify why I should care about all this commotion going on. Now, to make a long story longer, it all started when Joey Badass posted a song on YouTube accompanied with a music video called The Ruler's Back, and the main purpose of this song was basically Joey puffing out his chest, coming out of hibernation essentially to remind others of his existence. And I do focus on Joey Badass. Great rapper, has great projects under his belt. However, his intentions didn't stop there because he also threw some shots aiming at the West Coast, particularly at Kendrick Lamar. Obviously, when he said on that one verse about how there's too much West Coast dick licking, he's referring to the insane year Kendrick had in 2024. Beating Drake, Not Like Us becoming a hit, releasing GNX, you already know the story. And even though a part of me is happy that Joey seems to be getting back in the studio, I felt conflicted about his call out to the West. I'm not doubting Joey's ability to succeed in a rap battle. I'm questioning whether or not this will stir any motion long term, or is it just gonna fall under deaf's ears? Because even though Joey wants to battle Kendrick may not want to battle Joey. And I'm gonna get to why I think that's the case in a sec, but even though Joey didn't get a response from Kendrick himself, he certainly did get a response from other rappers out west who want to fight Joey Badass. Enter Rayvon and Daylight. Both of them came out with tracks of their own addressing Joey, not directly per se, but I kind of interpreted those tracks as subliminal shots towards him, warning Joey, hey man, that's the furthest you're gonna get or else I'm gonna fuck the shit out of you. Why did that come out so gay? Now, I feel like Joey at this point doesn't really have to do anything. Rayvon and Daylight are nowhere near as popular, nor have brought a huge impact to the genre of hip-hop than Joey Badass, but he came out with a song called Sorry Not Sorry, which was basically his version of You Don't Want to Fuck With Me, I Suggest You Stop Right There type of track. Nothing directly towards Rayvon or Daylight, but he's warning them that he is not someone to tussle with. But as time goes by, we know that this was just more fuel to a spark that will ignite into a flame. Now, I want to fast forward the timeline to this Red Bull cypher. There's a bunch of tracks that drop in between Joey's response and the cypher, but other than Daylight hinting at Joey's questionable ties with Diddy on that one track, nothing that would warrant a discussion from me happened. What's interesting about this cypher is that Ab-Soul is also in this. Ab-Soul is a TDE affiliate. He's from the West Coast. Matter of fact, he's still signed a Top Dog to this day. Guess who else is signed a Top Dog? Rayvon, the same person beefing with Joey Badass after The Ruler's Back. In fact, during the cypher, Ab-Soul actually dedicates a part of the cypher to kind of share his perspective of the whole situation. He makes it clear that he will always stay true to the West Coast, but still give his flowers to Joey, Capital Steez, and people from Pro Era. Just for Joey to go completely 180 mode, responding to Daylight, responding to Rayvon, essentially telling them, since you're coming after my name, it's on site, as well as admitting that he himself is affiliated with Diddy, but has never attended one of his freak-offs. And this verse prompted a huge response from not just Rayvon and Daylight, but also other West Coast rappers who want to join a war against Joey Badass. AZ Chike, Reason, even hit a J3. However, Joey did not come through this battle unprepared because he also dropped 3 more tracks of his own to add more fuel to the fire. Those being The Finals, My Town, and Crash Dummy. And congratulations, you are now caught up. I say all this at the beginning to set myself up in a position and explain why I think this beef is so trifling, why both sides technically lost. Let's start out with the West. I think the West lost simply because Joey has proven to be the better rapper. The song that Joey puts out are more clever, more scathing than all the tracks from Rayvon, Daylight, etc. This dude damn near twisted Daylight's name into so many double entendres and similes. You talking like I can't see the light? The question is me v you or you v Ray? I'm smoking all you dudes in the blunt. This the light pack. The irony, for months they told Joey to fight back. Now every punchline they need a crutch and an ice pack. I ain't gotta lose no sleep to break Daylight. Shouldn't give you dudes time of day, but fuck it, shine a light on them. I'm a light Ray. Also, he brought up Daylight wanting to fuck Diddy in an interview. I wish I was making this up. But in my opinion, he was frying Ray even further. What kind of top dog is you? You more shih tzu. You was cloned in the lab. You artificial. You known for your label, not because you're artificial. Oh my god. This is just the start of the track. I mean, I think Rayvon has the potential to be a good artist. In fact, he recently just dropped a pretty good mixtape you should check out. But how many people on the street can name one Rayvon song? Even he said it himself. Can't nobody name a single song you ever released. You need an optician just to see Ray-Bans? Like Ray-Bans, the sunglasses brand? It's about time Top let your ass off the leash. Signed for 5 years, had your biggest moment from me? I mean, like, he's speaking Facts though. From the whole beef, Joey has proven to be the better rapper, the better lyricist, and honestly the songs he makes are better too. I can see myself playing some of Joey's tracks outside of the beef like Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us, but what does Joey gain from all of this? Because remember, Joey is not aiming for Rayvon, he's not aiming for Daylight, and he's certainly not aiming for ass cheeks. But back to the topic, he's aiming for Kendrick Lamar Duckworth. He explicitly made it clear at the end of the finals. I salute you, Kenny, but I know you well aware you looking for some competition, then just know that I'll be right here. He wants to fight Kendrick Lamar, but Kendrick Lamar doesn't want to fight Joey. Am I saying that because I doubt Kendrick's ability to out-rap Joey? No. I'm one of the many individuals out there who's hoping for Kendrick and Joey to engage in a battle because I know that he won't compare himself to Jeffrey Epstein. But to say that Kendrick is going to respond to Joey is as delusional of a statement as to say that Frank Ocean is going to drop a new album. Kendrick is on tour, he doesn't have time to respond to Joey, and not only that, Joey is not on the same level as Kendrick in terms of popularity and impact towards the genre. Joey has amazing projects under his belt, but his success seems minuscule compared to Kendrick's success. Joey is a definition of an all-around great rapper. He is classy, he can spit crazy rhyme schemes, but that's it. Kendrick can of course choose to engage in some friendly competition, but if the beef between Kendrick and Drake has taught me anything, it's that Kendrick beefs with a purpose. Just because he's West Coast and Joey's East Coast isn't enough to stir the pot for him to respond. It's not personal enough to the point where Kendrick would be forced to respond to Joey, or at least I don't think so. And if Kendrick does respond to Joey, wouldn't that just open the floodgates for other rappers to feel like they are worthy of challenging Kendrick as well? Is Kendrick gonna respond to someone like CJ Fly and Kai Cash, who can't even compare with Joey Badass in terms of numbers? Not to mention that nothing of what Joey said or have said in his tracks suggests that he has a problem with Kendrick. You can honestly even argue to me that Joey is a clout chaser for doing this. But if Joey is considered a clout chaser, then everyone who responded to Joey is a clout snatcher. And this is where I'm gonna shift my focus to the West Coast rappers. I'm gonna be brutally honest with you guys, I don't think there's a single rapper from the West Coast that has put out a track towards Joey that warrants a response from him, other than maybe one or two songs from Daylight. You know what, let's start with Daylight. Here's my problem with Daylight, right? He's just dropping too many tracks. He's going down a YoungBoy route of only focusing on quantity and not quality. I hate how nowadays in hip-hop you gotta respond within 48 hours or it's over with. Take the time and drop something worthy of releasing to the public and to your opponents. When Drake first dropped Push-Ups and Tailor-Made Freestyle, Kendrick's immediate reaction wasn't clicking the upload button on YouTube. Instead, he took the time making a boatload of amazing diss tracks at Drake, approaching the beef in a more calculated manner to the point where he eventually put Drake in a chokehold with Meet the Grams and Not Like Us, and the only response Drake could think of is to say that he never looked twice at no teenagers. When I hear Daylight release Word to Minva as well as I Can't Hold You, I'm like, bro, did you hire Digital Nas and 2025 Ye to help you mix these tracks? How am I supposed to take things you say seriously when the beat is off beat? His vocals were so fucking buried on I Can't Hold You that this man literally deleted the track off of YouTube. And in my opinion, if you have to delete something that you yourself put out to fight against your opponent, you've immediately lost. But the worst part about all of these Daylight tracks is when he decides to bring up capital Steez in the equation. On the last verse on Word to Minva, he said, if the world knew that blank knew about you, they jump off a bridge too. I said blank because the name of the person in question is bleeped out intentionally, and people immediately thought he was referring to capital Steez as suicide. You know what Daylight said the very next day on Word is Bond? The first verse off of that track, see that bar about the bridge? It wasn't for Steez, it was for Soul. And then he proceeded to make a love song, a tribute to Capital Steez in the midst of this beef. While this song has been received online with nothing but positive remarks, I would very well like to disagree. I don't think this track is venerating, I think this track is embarrassing. If you have to publicly take back what you said because your words could easily be misconstrued as something else, isn't that your fault for not making it clear? On the song Ayo, Daylight is just so edgy to the point where I'm just physically unable to listen to this song. He does a clever scheme when he counts down from 13 to 1 only to completely ruin the whole song with this absolutely hideous outro where he is threatening to kill Joey's girl and his kids. What are we doing? I get that you're trying to intimidate Joey into backing off, but saying that you're going to commit homicide against his loved ones is not a very good flex. Yet in some of Daylight's tracks against Joey, they are either decent but forgettable tracks, and when Daylight does do something memorable, it's usually something negative. live. Now let's talk about Rayvon. Listening to Rayvon diss Joey Badass is like watching old people fuck. Now I want to be clear, I do think Rayvon has the potential to be a good rapper. Like I said before, he dropped a brand new mixtape, I think you should check it out. But this dude has zero self-awareness of what he's talking about. The first verse off of his song Ho Era is him saying, "Baby teeth, you ain't got a plaque yet. Fact check, we want to see the numbers like a math test." That is a fucking lie. And I'm sorry to have to be the nerdy one trying to fact check everything, but when you're out here making statements that can be falsely proven within 10 seconds using a Google search, listen to Young Thug's advice and slow the fuck down. Right now, as of today's day, Joey Badass has 2 songs that went platinum and 2 songs that went gold. I was gonna say that, you know, don't throw stones in a glass house, but Rayvon isn't even on Joey's level. Not only do you have no accolades to show for, this dude is out here calling members of Pro Era nobodies when he himself has less than 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify. Buddy, did you get laced before making these tracks? He's claiming that Pro Era made zero impact in the rap genre when I've never even heard of bro prior to the beef. Matter of fact, the only reason why I know that he has a mixtape out is to check if he's this sorry in his own works.
He called you Gayvon once and your response was, "Oh, at least I don't like bukakis." What the fuck are you talking about?
Which he isn't, but yeah, his tracks are just pitiful. The only bar I remember from Rayvon is him saying how he let Ice Spice turn into the king of New York, which is pretty funny. But you know, having one memorable bar is better than having none. When I listen to Hidda J3 make the most mediocre diss track that I know is going to bring zero impact to the whole genre, I'm just sitting back and asking myself, why are you releasing this? Why are you doing this other than trying to profit off of this beef by getting some short span attention to your name? If you really love the sport of hip-hop, why don't y'all make better fucking tracks? Someone like Reason got no reason to hop in this beef when you literally left Top Dog a few years ago. I know how your relationship with Top went sour, so why are you jumping in to defend bro other than to be a clout chaser? If I had $1 for every time someone mentioned Diddy, I think I have around $10, which is not a lot, but it's weird why it happened 10 times. For some reason, the West Coast is just infatuated with Diddy more than his lawyer defending him. They keep bringing up the claim that Joey is a menace to society because he hangs around with Diddy, when in reality, Joey and Diddy don't even have that strong ties with each other for y'all to be constantly spamming this argument to begin with. The same criticism that can be applied to Joey can also be applied to Kendrick and Top, because they've also hanged around with Diddy in the past. And that's exactly what Joey Badass did, you know, flip the narrative around to show the hypocrisy. I do have a few more points to bring up, but I really don't feel like doing so because they're just minor details I observed with Joey's tracks or Daylight's tracks that I thought were mildly interesting. I will say though, Loaded Lux feature was fire. The fact that he jumped in the middle of this beef and still came out with a better verse than Rayvon and Daylight says a lot. The West really embarrassed themselves in this conflict. Obviously, they're the losers to this whole thing, but if you think otherwise, please tell me why. But I also don't think Joey wanted beef either because Joey's target was never these 40 overall player builds. He's aiming for Kendrick Lamar, only for Kendrick to completely leave him on red. Joey did not need to engage in this beef to prove that he's better than Ass Cheeks, Daylight, or Rayvon. No one's making an argument that they are better rappers than him, and I don't think anyone will do so in the future because this whole beef culminated in a bunch of nothing. This whole conflict is just all gonna be forgotten within a year. Actually, that's me being generous. I think this shit's gonna be forgotten in 9 months.